Hi, Dave.
Good afternoon, Sean.
Afternoon. Yeah, it's not an evening.
No,
It's an
I know.
afternoon.
I prepped myself ready for that.
For the good evening.
Yeah.
So this is. I thought we'd start introducing ourselves on these streams because I realised we don't do it.
Okay.
I'm Sean. The voice you hear without a face is Dave. I cut you off introducing yourself then.
That's okay. Yeah, like you seem to do a reasonable job there to suggest who I am without a face.
Yeah. And so together with Pillbug Interactive, we make games and we stream games as well. And like once a week, we play games and talk about the design and what we can learn from them, really. And just kind of chill out and play games because that's what we need right now, I think.
Yes.
And today, this week this week and next week, there's a thing going on called Love Indies, #LoveIndies, I think. And the idea behind that is to kind of find games that, like indie games, the kind of games that, we make. We're an independent development studio, and sometimes it's very hard to get your name out there and get your game out there. So we thought this week we'd make a point of playing 2 indie games by people that we know, so 2 of them. They're Fly Punch Boom by I've forgotten their name.
Oh no, Sean!
By Jolly Punch.
There we go.
By Jolly Punch, and then Annwn by Quantum Soup. Did I get that right?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay, we will. So
it is indeed by Quantum Soup Studio.
Okay, cool. So we'll talk a bit more in detail about Quantum Soup when we play that. So it's 2 games, 1 stream. I know it's like the unprecedented stuff. So I thought they are like so opposite. I hear people say, "Oh, too many games are coming out on Steam." Those people are wrong. There's so many games coming out on Steam. It's the best time to be playing games. You can find something you love, and it's just finding it and knowing how to find it. And these are like opposite ends of the scale of gaming experiences. So we're starting with Fly Punch because I think I'm going to need to calm down after it. So I'm just going to start playing. I want to do the how to play again and do the tutorial again because I found it. I need to remind myself. Okay, so it's it's an anime fighting game.
Yeah.
Do you like anime?
I've always wanted to like anime more than I actually do, and it took me a while to get in, to come to that personal realization.
Yeah.
And be okay with that. Yeah. I'm definitely one of those people who what they like is basically the occasional Studio Ghibli movie. So to say I'm an anime fan isn't really fair. What on earth are you doing, by the way?
I'm fighting. It's a fighting game. Now, the way I would describe it initially is it feels like a pinball fighting game.
Okay. Which one are you?
I'm the guy on the left at the moment. So the guy,
big muscly guy.
Okay. Nice. So there's a lot of quick time events going on. It's very. It's going to be a very hard thing for me to describe. Okay, so I have full motion, kind of almost like it's controls almost like a space, like a shooter game, right? I'm controlling my guy just flying around.
Moving around. Yeah.
And then every so often, if I get close enough, buttons will come up. And then it's like these quick time events, and it's lots of timing based stuff, and it's lots of rock paper scissors stuff going on as well, right? But this is one person, So how long have we been following this game?
So this is. I think I can claim credit for the fact that we're following this, the 2 of us, because I just saw some early GIFs and stuff just popped up into our Twitter feed as they do. Other people we follow would have liked them and all that kind of stuff. Social media, and I just thought this game looks amazing. Like it's not. I mean, other people might say, "Oh no, it's like this or that or the other," but I hadn't seen anything quite like it before.
Yeah.
And I just thought, this is an indie studio. I want to follow this. I want to see what, the usual, right?
Yeah.
We've just kind of been, it's funny. I always feel a little uncomfortable saying like we've been supporting it because it makes it sound like we've actually done something like really important and big and it's worthwhile. But all we've done is like really just like stuff, retweet stuff, and say how much we like stuff. And I guess that that is a degree of support in this day and age. But it's basically just saying this looks really cool and good luck with it and. Kind of keep on top of it.
It's like for me, like again, like this whole couple of weeks is all about thinking about community and it's just like it. I don't know. It just looks great, doesn't it?
That's the thing. Like it creates amazing gifts. Like I mean, we talk about like indie marketing as like really is gifts are the be all and end all, right? And like the stuff, the visuals this game creates. And the moments, the capturable moments that it creates.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Like you couldn't, it's like a marketer's dream, I would have thought.
Right, I'm going to quit this. I'm going to, and go into the actual game. But yeah, it just looks great. It's kind of, I want to go to controls. So, maybe, right, I think
you could play this on keyboard.
But yeah. Okay, I'm going to do the arcade mode. Lore. The Punchies. The Punchies are immortal, sexless beings that reproduce through combat. And two punches of great power fight. Punchies of great power fight together. The meeting of their fists can generate enough energy to create stars and galaxies. Sometimes the clash is so powerful that a new Punchie is born. A union of the two fighters' best qualities. No one knows how the first Punchie was born, nor if it was before or after this universe.
Okay.
So these are, I guess, the characters
that you can unlock. Yeah.
So I'm going to do arcade. I'm going to do an easy because I suck at fighting games. So I'm going to go with the default character. I think last time I tried to play this, I went for a kind of non-default character that I wonder if was a bit more difficult.
Sure.
And so I'm Shin against Boya. Okay. So from what I gather, like you can move around, and then I can attack this. When I get close enough, I can attack this person.
Right.
And with so A seems to dash. Like I
feel like it's funny you're telling us how this works during the actual game and not the tutorial you just did.
Yeah. The tutorial that was like giving me plenty of chance to do that.
Yeah.
Do you like fighting games?
I find that fighting games. Do I like fighting games? That's a really interesting question. Because to me they're super context specific in the sense of who you're playing fighting games with.
Yeah.
Like they've always felt that way to me.
Yeah.
So my very first introduction to fighting games was Street Fighter Turbo on the SNES with my brother.
Yeah.
So, obviously that means as the younger of those two...
I don't like how big this guy's getting.
Yeah, you're getting... This is what's happening. This is what happened in Street Fighter Turbo, in fact. My brother would just stomp me, right?
Yeah.
And like any younger brother, I thought that was a great injustice and wanted to right that wrong. And I tried, and of course I would never, get good enough to do it. He was just older. And then moving through my history with PMO, it's a brief history, don't worry. Yeah. I had a bunch of friends who had Tekken, right? Tekken 2, Tekken 3. And they would, because they owned it and I didn't, they were always just way better at it.
Yeah.
So again, I would just get stomped. So I'm not like, you know, me in board games and other games like that. Like winning isn't really something that I feel is like utterly essential to my enjoyment of a game. Beat 'em ups, however, like I think they do get a bit tiring and a bit tired if your opponent just crushes you every time.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. Yeah. I think. Oh no! I got hit by a train.
Oh.
Yeah.
Presumably you don't come back from that.
I came back. I don't know.
Oh, okay. So is it best of 3? I'm guessing.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I think it is. I can't. Yeah. I don't know.
So Boyer's got a little a green pip in the top right hand corner, and you don't.
So I'm kind of really concentrating on these quick time events. So it's lots of kind of like just doing what
the screen tells you to do.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, kind of. Like, because I've got this A. I can't remember the difference in A and like I can push X to kind of go into this clash. I think is what it is.
Yeah.
And then this is when that thing happens. It's like a rock paper scissors type situation going on. There's these things. Oh, okay. So I hit him against the building.
Yeah.
So like, what's the popular anime this is kind of not based on, but what's it called?
Like Dragon Ball Z.
That's it. Yeah. Because there's those games, isn't there, which are kind of like this. Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't played any Dragon Ball Z games, like, which I like this, I suppose. Like, makes sense. I guess the other thing is like I never got into Super Smash Brothers. Like that.
Yeah, I've never played a Super. I've never actually played it.
You haven't? Okay, no. I've at least like played. At friends' houses when there's like 8 of us and it's pandemonium and I have no idea what's going on.
Yeah.
But a bit like this, I suppose it's. I don't know. Maybe this is unfair to say, but it's like for me, Super Smash Brothers is about embracing the chaos.
Yeah, it's like the Mario Party kind of like BS, isn't it?
Yes.
Look at this. This is what I like about this game, though. Like, it's this stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think I won something then, didn't I?
That was a death screen. Like, I think you achieved that because he got to 0 HP.
Yeah. Because, like, Smash, the idea is it's all about knocking someone off by... Isn't it? Is that what... like
I think so, yeah.
Okay, so it's speed. I've got, like, some kind of speed going on here then now. Is that what that...
Yeah. You've done that before, so I'm wondering if that, like, is that like an ultimate or an energy...
Yeah.
I think in the bottom left-hand corner there's a gauge that changes.
Yeah.
But yes, so like, but you still get health, I think, in Super Smash Bros. But it's like what I realized from Tekken and playing against people who knew what they were doing.
Yeah.
Like that became a kind of a finesse thing rather than mashing buttons or like. So I find them really interesting as a concept.
Because like the thing is, it always looks like mashing buttons, but to people who are really know what they're doing, it isn't at all, right? There's really like mind game stuff going on. There was a game that came out and by a studio who ended up being bought by Riot. And it was about this. It was a robot fighting game, and it was a fighting game, but they took out all the idea of combos. So you just pushed buttons, and you didn't need to learn like button prompts. And you were robots. I can't remember what it was called. So I always thought that was a way of me getting into fighting games because it took that skill, that particular skill level, and it became all about the mind games of like, oh man,
You were so close to winning this.
Yeah.
You didn't win. No. How did you lose that? I thought
I started talking. That's what happened.
Your health was like so much higher than his, and then you blew it. Yeah.
Thanks. Don't mince your words there.
No, you just blew it. I mean, there was no other way of describing what just happened. Yeah. Oh gosh, this guy's. So, did you think the learning curve on the game is relatively steep, or?
Are you talking about this game or
this game? Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Like, I mean, I am not like, maybe if you're into fighting games. I don't think so. Like,
okay, yeah.
I was having trouble. I think when I first tried this, I was on my Steam Link, and I think the timings are so.
Ooh,
playing a fighting game on your Steam Link is probably not the thing to.
No. No, that's probably a very bad idea.
Yeah. But so something that I quite like about this is even when you lose, like you've got that kind of, you're rewarded by something cool happening, you know?
Yeah. It's fun. You don't feel bad. I mean, I can imagine that gets a little old, but like, that feeling of
because even if like, oh man, if I don't win this fight, I'm just gonna go try another character, another stage on the versus mode, because then I get to see the stuff. Like,
sure.
So I don't think it's too tricky. It's just like learning all these kind of the rock paper scissors stuff. What the heck? And I guess there's gonna be a lot of things about learning what all the stages do.
Oh, This is tight.
I have to say, as someone who appreciates the difficulty of making cameras in games, like, how on earth did you do this?
Yeah, you're quite right. Like, wow. How does this camera function? Man alive.
Shit. Sorry. I know it's only 4 o'clock. 2 o'clock?
I know it's only 4 o'clock, he says.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Right. No. Come on. I want to grab him. So like, I'm not sure. I'm only pushing A and X now. So maybe I should be doing other things to initiate. Like,
are you
Oh, B is throw. Okay. So then I threw him. And then there's some kind of rock paper scissors going on with this. My favorite, the only fighting games I used to play were like the pro wrestling games on the N64.
Oh right, yeah.
And I was really like, that actually got me into pro wrestling. Like,
nice.
So WCW versus NWO was the first one I played, and then they were great. Like they're very different, slow paced. They also like more slow paced. There's also the what's it called? The Octagon. What's the thing that's like mixed martial MMA?
Okay, yeah.
Isn't it? Is it MMA?
Yeah, mixed martial arts.
Yeah. So there's a bunch of those games are quite cool. Yes.
So,
right.
Shall I wait until? Can you pause during this out of curiosity?
Yeah. Why?
Well, I'm just wondering if your OBS screen is like cutting stuff off a little bit, because I'm looking at your health bars and
no, that's how they are on my screen. I think there's something going on with the resolution. I have a weird monitor setup.
Yeah, this is all your fault, I guess.
Because I have to play at like a resolution low, because I've got an ultra wide monitor. So I think there's there might be some issues with scaling. I don't think I need to see that
No, I'm just curious because like at points I'm like, oh no, you're about to die, and then the fight goes on for a while, and I'm like, okay.
Yeah, that could be it.
It is amazing how like there's loads of stuff going on in the background as well, like that. Like they're very dynamic backdrops. And that feeling is really added to thanks to the great camera work, right? Like it's
Oh, did I even do that? Did I win?
Did I win?
Yes, I won. Okay, now against Grievous. Let's go. Yeah, there's just like no resting, like right into it.
Oh, it's nice to be on a different background. To see a bit of that.
But yeah, because I know like real fighting games, it's all about this kind of rock paper scissors like situation going on, you know, of really feeling your opponent out.
Yeah, I mean the competitive Street Fighter scene, like I haven't really I haven't looked at it much myself at all, but what's the way it intersects slightly with my experience is that a lot of people who were into card games like Magic and Hearthstone and things like that, like, are also interested in the Street Fighter kind of meta game and how that operates. And I guess because beat 'em ups for a lot of people feel like closer to sport than computer games in terms of the skills that they use, like the reaction times, like there are physical features to it rather than perhaps like a card game, which you know you don't have to be physically, good. You just have to be mentally good at the game.
Yeah, there is that card. Isn't there like a card game? It's like a simulation of a fighting game. I forget what it's called.
Yeah, there's a few. Yeah, there's like Brawl, is it, or something like that?
I don't know.
Like, but you're right. There are games that simulate fights.
Yes.
Nice.
I think I have messed up some. I think possibly what's happening is I've got this in a 1920 by 1080 screen for the stream, but then it's got the aspect ratio as my monitor because I'm going off the edge, like.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
But I am in a very. It's a strange. Your experience will vary. With this,
let's actually put that right. Your experience will be right, and Sean's will be wrong.
Yeah.
Do you ever regret getting an ultra wide monitor, Sean?
No. Like there are times that it's only for really like it's only streaming that it gives me any kind of issue. I really like it. I couldn't do without one. Like I bought one for work. Like that, like coding, doing any kind of Unity without it would be, well, not impossible, but once you're used to it.
Do you think it's like demonstrably better than multiple regular size monitors?
I would like both. Like that's what. That's the actual answer. No, I know. I want an ultra wide, and I want a second monitor as well. That's my dream. That's like my life goal. Is to have another monitor either next to or above this one.
I mean, I kind of can't help but feel like if you want it that bad enough, you would have done it by now.
Oh yes, am I going to put him through the? Come on.
Nice. Oh, brutal. I mean, with this kind of game, you cannot get too ridiculous, right? Like that's the glory of this. It's like you could just go in design, you'd be like, what's the craziest thing you could think could happen? Mm-hmm. Brilliant. So it's a one-person studio. Like you saw the credits. I should have checked this out. Nice. They did all the art as well.
I think so. Yes, I think he.
Amazing. Yeah, that's great. That's phenomenal to have that kind of skill set to be able to do all the things that are going on technically here, as well as the art as well. That's
like this is technically this is a really challenging thing. Like I would say, having not knowing much, but like trying to get this working at all without crashing all the time. And there's this doesn't feel good.
Oh god.
So it's kind of, I guess this is like that Smash business, right? That like I'm being thrown off the screen and that's like I immediately die. Yeah. Or is my health having to get down first? I suppose because I've got a screwed up, because I've screwed this all up. Who knows?
It might be like no, but I like the idea, even if it's not the case, that if you go out, then and because you failed a quick time event, right? Like where you have to get.
Yeah.
And it looked fairly generous as the quick time events go.
Yeah.
So the punishment for that should be just instant death. It's a bit like being in a sumo match in some respects, isn't it? Because of these bouncy walls. Or being thrown out of the ring in wrestling, although that doesn't necessarily mean you lose, right? Obviously.
No. Gosh, shoot. I find like the thing that took me a while to get used to is kind of figuring out which character is me.
Yeah, fair
in
enough.
a lot of cases.
You're gonna get eaten by the whale. Because I don't get. Oh, nice. I don't get the sound, so I'm assuming the sound's pretty epic on this.
Yes. Yeah.
In fact, I might just turn it on briefly, and so if I don't respond, I'm listening to the sounds.
Yeah. Oh dear. Shoot. I wonder if like the health is like affecting how much of that bar that I get to counter is. Like how big that is, maybe.
Yeah, that would make some sense, wouldn't it? The game gets kind of progressively harder as you lose more health slightly. Yeah, so it sounds like a pretty sweet soundtrack. Is it varying from level to level, or is it the same?
It's one of those things that I'm so concentrated on what's going on, I don't know. Which probably means it's doing a good job. What the?
Yeah, I mean, like a lot with a lot of that kind of stuff, you just don't want to. You don't want it to get in the way of something like this. Wow, that was a tiny bar.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna quit. Let's go to local and have a look at 2v2. How many humans? 1 versus 2. Wow, I didn't realize there was like tag team in this. I don't know what. Easy. Oh, what do we want to go on? Which one haven't we seen? We haven't seen the. I think this is the one we haven't seen, so let's go with it. Is there a way of tagging, I guess? So this has got online multiplayer as well.
Nice. So yeah, that looks kind of intense.
Yeah. I'm not sure how I'm switching character, but I am.
Maybe it's
I think it's automatic.
Yeah.
And I actually think the screen shake isn't too much. Like it's kind of a nice. I don't know. Like there's a lot of like tweaking to make this not crazy. Like making chaotic stuff work is harder than you might think.
It's really hard. Really hard. I mean, it's a bit like VR making you nauseous, right? Like, like the chances are, like this kind of visual action. I mean, there would be some people who just can't handle this anyway, right? Like this just not way too much. But even getting it to a point where there are people, lots of people will find it fine. Must have taken a colossal amount of work.
Yeah. Oh no. This isn't good. Oh no.
I also like you kind of alluded to it earlier a bit with the variation of today's stream games. Like it really flies in the face of this idea that indie games are often just chilled out experiences. Like they don't all have to be. Like we can have some pretty high octane indie games.
Yeah. I keep pushing Y. Why do I keep pushing? Is the ghost of the person that I beat like coming back to fight? I keep pushing Y. Why do I keep pushing Y? That's the counter button. I suppose it doesn't matter, does it really? Like, as long as I'm countering.
Yeah. Like, as long as you're not pushing Y when you need to be pushing X.
I guess is the button mashing thing when there's like we both push the same button. Maybe. It just feels good. Like I don't care that like what it feels very good and very like. Okay. That was just one round. Okay, right. Adding those bouncing, adding these kind of bumpers is quite cool.
Yeah.
Like a nice touch. Oh, so I guess it's a race to do the quick time event when that happens. I don't understand what these gets are. That they just like
sound like power-ups, right?
Yeah, there is a power-up button, I think, but I don't know what it is.
Because I mean, there does seem to be like when you go for your character, it seems to be that speed bit, right? Like where it goes speed, and then like other characters have other things like that. So
yeah,
I assume they kind of help toward like there you go. So I assume that kind of helps towards that.
It just feels good. I know I'm just going to say that a lot, but there's making a game that feels this good is very hard. I'm glad I played it up. It went black and white because it was so just crazy.
You knocked,
I knocked the color out of him.
Yeah. I mean, so it has been a little while in development. Like we've obviously been following it for quite a while, but that's hardly surprising when it's a one-person studio making a game with this many things going on.
It's out on Switch as well.
Nice. Yeah. I can imagine that'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'm almost maybe that'd be the place to get it. Like, because then you can play multiplayer like pretty easily.
Yeah.
It's got the couch co-op over Steam stuff.
Cool.
But like again, I struggled to play it downstairs through Steam Link, so I don't know how that would work. I'd have to try that out. But then there's and then there's online multiplayer. So like actually getting that to work in a way that if that's that's probably the way to go. They have tournaments quite regularly. I've noticed. Oh no!
I guess that's it. When you make a beat 'em up game, you know that these days that's I guess just an expectation, isn't it?
Yeah.
That there will be some approach to competitive play.
Yeah. Nice. It's just it nicely escalates as well. Like I don't know how it's escalated. I don't know. It's very good. Like that's what I'm trying to say. Like it the camera I guess for me, like I really like get obsessed over cameras in games, and they nail it. Like this is just the camera is so good. See, the problem I find in fighting games is like I end up getting into a button mashing phase where I need to like stop and think about what I'm doing. Like I'm just reacting, and I need to kind of keep looking at what's going on. It's the same with any kind of game like this, these kind of fast games. Okay, am I throwing him? Yeah.
Yeah, I suppose with the throws it can be a bit difficult to tell.
Oh, did we? Yeah. Nice. Okay. Well, I'm going to say that this is Fly Punch Boom.
Fly Punch Boom.
It's great. Definitely, like, yeah, wow. It's full on for sure. So it's on Steam and Switch right now. It came out like a week ago.
Yeah,
so,
I think it was last week.
Yeah, definitely. Like, if you're into this type of thing, pick it up. I think it's quite accessible, quite fun, compared to a lot of other fighting games, which can be hard to get into.
That's true. Yeah, like I think not just the aesthetic, but the general like creative direction of it may well be much more accessible to most than the kind of a bit more hardcore beat 'em up games.
Yeah.
And I guess it's designed with that kind of silly fun approach rather than taking itself very seriously.
Yeah, I think that's the other thing. It's quite nice. Like, it's just fun, and I guess that's what like anime kind of is, or this style of anime, right? Is like it relishes in being kind of silly, and I'm all for that, for sure. Okay, so we're gonna I'm feeling. I need to calm down. I need to
bit of a rest after that. Yeah,
but we need to calm down into some puzzle games.
Okay, well, that's a bit more Sean's speed, to be honest.
Yeah, I think so. So I'm gonna quit this. It's gonna go black. I'm not professional enough to like get rid of this black screen, so I'm sorry about that. But it's a Saturday. It's a chilled stream. Just hanging out. We're playing games. So Dave, could you maybe switch the game on Twitch and stuff? Is that within our power?
That is. Let me just move my mic so you don't hear me typing loads.
Okay.
Although was a nice touch to have tournament notifications in game.
Oh, cool! Which
is that is cool, isn't it? Kind of because I guess for a lot of people you could miss. You could miss kind of
I think I've seen that kind of thing in games. I think is quite cool, like having these kind of things like there's a patch out and that kind of stuff. I think is really neat. Okay, I can't see, like my setup for my camera means that I can't see my taskbar, so I have to I minimize OBS. Right, okay, there we go.
Okay, I'll change the game we're playing on Twitch. But the title for the stream says both games, so do you really want me to change it?
No, not the title, just on the thing on show what we're playing. So I'm going to maybe turn the volume up a little bit here. Yeah, let's do that. So this is Annwn, which someone correct me. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. It's a Celtic word. And this is by Chris Payne. It's Quantum Soup.
Yep.
And they're a Welsh studio, like us.
Oh, nice.
Did you? So this is.
I didn't know that.
Okay, right. So I've been wanting to check this out for a while, and we both end up with lists of games we want to play, and it you end up being like, oh, but this game left early access this week, so I'm gonna play this now. So I was like, no, right, I want to I want to check this out. So we do a lot of shows. Well, we did when we used to be able to go outside, but we do a lot of shows and this has always been kind of sat on a laptop, kind of.
Okay. Yeah.
So I've been wanting to check it out. I'm going in blind, just so you know.
The Dave approach.
But I do know about the game. This is not like.
So what Sean does is he dutifully plays the game a first time, so he can actually give you an informed, early impression. Whereas I'm like, I have no idea what's going on, and you just get an idiot bumbling around through a game.
Okay.
Yeah. Both the pros and cons.
So I'm sucking.
It's a trippy loading screen, isn't it?
This is the tutorial.
Oh, okay, cool. Okay.
Yeah. Which is, so I'm trying to figure out. So right, okay. So I've got to get. So I suck trees up, and then
through your mind,
and then I put them onto a square where there isn't a tree, and that turns it into a thing that I can then teleport myself to.
Ooh.
At which point, then eventually I have to get to the guy with that guy.
The horns.
Horns.
Okay. Creepy horn man.
Okay, you cannot move. Movement is for the living. Okay. So
feed energy trainer.
Use to look around and now zoom in.
Okay. Let me just give everybody a link to this.
Yeah. Did we give a link to the other one?
We sure did.
Cool. If the watcher sees you, it will start draining your energy. Okay. Aim at the floor tiles. Hold the right. Okay, right.
So this was released 31st of March 2019. So it's been out for a little while now, a bit over a year. Oh, that skull is scary.
Okay, cool. Right. I see what's going on here. So, right. Okay. Right. I might have to change
and absorb the Watcher to escape. Okay.
So I've got to absorb this Watcher guy.
And he's looking for you by the sounds of it.
Yeah. So is that what? So I've got to get up. Okay, he's coming around. He can say, oh no, that's not good. Okay.
What are the dots on the bottom about?
They're my energy.
Oh, okay.
Take that down to like sand. Right. So. Oh, so that's sucking my energy from there. So, right.
Ooh.
So I need to get higher.
Okay.
So can I? Right. Yeah. Okay. So as soon as it's a skull,
that's when you can teleport it. Okay.
But I can make the skull higher by getting more energy into it. Oh, this is bad.
What is he replacing your skulls with trees?
Yes.
Are we the bad guys? like to ask that kind of Mitchell and Webb level question. Are we the bad guys, like sucking energy out of a tree?
You make a good point. I need to try and get higher somehow.
Is that's the puzzle element of it? How you climb?
Yeah, because I can. So I'm just going to try sucking out some energy. A bunch of these.
Yeah. Build yourself up.
Oh, what the heck?
So he found that skull. What? Ooh. Okay.
Yeah.
Are you sucking that energy out? It looks like he's on to you there.
I wonder if I can, like, I need to. He keeps coming around and, like, I can't get away from him.
Ooh. Okay. Again, I'm just going to put the sound on them, though.
Okay. Okay, now I'm a bit higher up, so.
Is there something about oh no, okay, you're higher up generally.
Because, yeah, I'm not sure how to. So, is there anywhere that's higher up than where I am now?
Because when it was doing the tutorial, it suggested that like maybe there's different layers of you, like underneath you, like pedestals kind of thing.
Yeah, anyway, I can put. Yeah, so that's. Because I'm higher up, I can see lots of stuff now, so I'm just going to get loads of energy. Can he? Yeah, I can.
Sorry, just replied to chat.
Okay.
So sorry, I missed something there. Did you complete a level?
No.
Oh, are you back to the bottom of the island?
Yes.
Oh. Did he get you? Is that why you had to go back?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm just wondering if there's some way I can raise. Yes. Okay. Here we go. So I can raise this guy.
That's what I was trying to suggest. Yeah. That seems pretty key.
Yeah. So.
But he puts it right down again.
Yeah. Right. I wonder if there's a way of, like, the issue I'm having at the moment is, like, he catches me up really quickly. Oh, because that, and then there's that thing there is, we've got another one. So if we go down to here, grab all my energy back from there. Don't know if this is the way. What?
Yeah, so I think we have someone from Quantum Soup in in the chat, because they're saying they're seeing FOV glitches that they thought they'd fixed. Oh. So live on stream. I haven't noticed anything like glitchy, but then I guess we obviously don't know the game as well as they do.
Yeah, we it's the kind of thing that I watch one of our games and I'm like, that's 0.2 seconds out. What?
Yeah.
Call it back. Right, can I get? I'm almost wondering whether I need to restart. Now that I know.
Do?
Well, they're kind of like mini watchers, I think.
Oh, okay.
Have I got right? Okay, so.
But do you think it's irreparable, like or like irretrievable?
So I can get this one quite high now.
That costs you quite a lot of energy.
Yeah,
though.
I'm just like having a play, see how. Because having this high is quite. So now I can get.
Oh, I see. Mm-hmm.
But like this is now on me. There we go.
Nice.
I guess. Ugh.
Does that feel like a good sense of achievement?
Mm-hmm. No, like I'm glad I didn't like stop because I was like, oh, I should, maybe I just screwed up, but like I think it was a good level to kind of teach me the ropes. Like this is one of those kind of learning. Like we often talk about onboarding and how you do that.
Yeah, like because that's like I was saying that's a funky loading screen. You're like, this is the tutorial. Okay, so that's quite. But that like it doesn't really like it manages its onboarding wordlessly, right? Like, and that's always a really impressive thing to do when it works.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I've got a choice now.
Okay, so yeah, your map is that choice, and then the experience is like a tech tree, I'm guessing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Looks like it. Okay, I'm just going to try the top one. So, okay, right, so... it's actually faster paced than I expected.
Okay. Yeah, well, because you've got that, like, the constant threat of the watcher, right? Like, you can't just sit back and solve your puzzle slowly.
Right, okay. I feel, I'm gonna make this guy a bit higher this time. Maybe that'll help me get...
I guess you could invest more into a totem that you know is the quite far away from the watcher gaze.
Yeah, well, I wonder if this is an idea of shadows, like... Do you know what I mean? Like, is there going to be a sense of...
Does the watcher move in a predictable way?
I think so. Right. So I can actually also steal that from the watcher. So is it... No, now it's moving towards me, is it? Or is it constantly moving clockwise?
It's moving clockwise, right?
Right, okay, that's interesting. That can possibly help me, right?
Yeah.
Oh, here's one.
So Chris in chat said, like onboarding for this game is quite a challenge because it doesn't necessarily lend itself to other games. So like, is there some games that it puts you in mind of, because like I mean, nothing's springing to mind for me.
No. So like, what's that game? There is one game. It's kind of nothing. It's kind of nothing like this, but it reminds me of this. Okay. Which doesn't make sense, but it does. What's it called? You're like this anime lady, and it's like a puzzle game. I don't know what to like.
I'm not going to Google that.
You're not going to Google anime lady puzzle game? Come on.
No, funnily enough.
No. Okay. Yeah. No. Oh God. What's it called? What's it called? It's going to annoy me now. It's a game where you're kind of like you're going up these stairs. You're like in a dream. It's really odd. It's an odd game, but it's kind of this tile-based puzzle, kind of like quite relatively quick puzzle game. It's making. Do you know what? It kind of reminds me of old like PlayStation 1 puzzle games.
Yeah.
Like there was this weird game on PS1 of like where the whole game was about you. This is a risky.
Yeah, like that's way too close to his.
Yeah, and I've got no energy. This game where I forget what it was called, but you were kind of, it was like this kind of hacker game, but it wasn't anything to do with hacking. There was like these blocks coming towards you, and it was all about trying to find the route through the blocks. And there was this whole big it was almost like a brain training kind of idea that they talked about, how it was like you're learning all these logic patterns. But I wasn't convinced about that. But it's got that kind of vibe. There was like lots of like, I'm thinking PlayStation 1 like N64 era, where you could still buy like console games that were like puzzle games, like, because like you think now, like what, like think about how many puzzle, like what, like can you like are puzzle games as much of a thing?
Like, surely, yeah. Like puzzle games definitely are.
But like full on kind of AAA.
Oh, I see.
Like just like just the price of development means that you don't necessarily tend to see those kind of console games.
No, I suppose the indies have stepped into that space quite comfortably and said like, we'll cover. We got this covered.
Yeah, man, I'm nowhere. This is not good.
No, you are in trouble. Chris says that he took it to like a festival type thing, and patched it every night in the hotel room after seeing people get to grips with it and seeing what they were struggling with the kind of like the live play experience.
Yeah.
And I think that's definitely something that we've like, not at those kind of like 3-4 day festivals or anything like that, but just like the benefit of people seeing people play your game and see what they struggle with. Like, but obviously a lot of AAA studios and things like that have a horde of testers to do that. But we've been getting a lot of great feedback from our Discord community, but also like the streamers who have been kind enough to stream our game while it's still in beta.
Yeah.
Have been amazing like resource for that. Seeing people who are used to verbalizing when they understand something or don't understand something for the benefit of an audience.
Yeah. I think so. Like, I think because we've gone. So like, I don't know if we're explaining kind of the timeline of making it home, and that we've. Do you want to do that while I'm?
Racing against the Watcher. So yeah, like at the moment we're in beta with it, and it will go into early access. Our current deadline, or current work to deadline, shall I say, for that is early August, and then it will enter into early release.
Yeah.
Early access. Sorry, is what I mean, and that's something that obviously a lot of different games are doing, and I appreciate people have different opinions on early access and whether that's a good or bad thing for games. But it's certainly for a lot of games it's an essential part of the release process, and for us I think it will be that as well. Because whilst there is a...
Oh, something's happening. Right, I've paused it. I heard screams in the darkness, and the sword seemed to seek my hand as I stumbled over the fallen. Condone or condemn?
Okay.
What do you want to do, Dave? The swords seem to seek my hand.
I would maybe condemn.
Okay.
Because, I mean,
what
it
choice
feels
did I
like
have? My people were dying.
Oh. That's a Battlestar Galactica level choice, right? Like, do you become what you hate in order to save what you love, Sean?
Deep.
Yeah, I know. We're on season 5 now of our rewatch of Battlestar Galactica.
Nice.
Our lockdown rewatch.
I kind of want to do it too. Can I convince Joe to
to rewatch it?
Oh, I forgot you can make trees in empty spaces.
Oh, that's a game changer.
Yeah, there we go. Okay, that's cool. So I'm going around this. I wonder if there's part of it is like leaving some of these, like leaving them for the watcher to take time.
Oh, yeah, good point.
Yeah.
Because I was about to ask, actually, like, what are you learning in terms of tactics? Like obviously you've kind of got to grips with the basics of the game and how like things work. But what is, how do you get better at this? Because presumably the challenges are going to get, tougher in a way that they, like, the developer understands that and you might not as the player. So yeah, like, what are you learning?
Well, it's like that realization of like, oh, I can do that. Of course I can do that. Right? How the heck can I get up here?
The big stack of doom is also another thing that making like the big stack, and there was obviously a bit of a breakthrough moment, but
yes, and I think this idea of maybe leaving these. It's there's interesting design decision is not allowing you to put energy into yourself when you're on yourself. Like, it'd be very different if you could, right? Oh, now there's okay, so that tactic doesn't overly work because this dog is here. Yeah. So. But now I just right.
So apparently you can spend energy between levels. Just
okay.
So that might change things moving forward as well. You might be interested to know that.
I wondered if that was what was happening. Yeah, I saw that. Saw that. Because like this level, I feel like I need to have lots of energy because I need to just make something tall because there's not.
Yes. You don't have much near the watcher, do you?
Yeah. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put one over there to hopefully keep the watcher busy for a bit. Take up all these trees. But yeah, so like one way we kind of got around the kind of like having no money to pay testers thing with making a home is just emailing it to a bunch of people really early, and like we almost like I feel like it was almost against every fiber in our being to do that, right?
It took quite a bit, yeah. I mean, it wasn't. It was very. It was early, but like certainly not like. But like it wasn't crazy early, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Like, it wasn't super early. We were comfortable that it was playable, and we were comfortable that like it was fun, and that like people. Inevitably there were things that we didn't anticipate that people got stuck on, and we had to like patch things a little quickly. There are some higher ups there, dude.
Yeah. Crap. I died.
But like we were confident that like you could play through the first kind of main loop of the game and more. And still and be learning and getting to grips with the systems and having fun whilst doing it without like it being a bad experience. Oh, it keeps a track of your choices.
That's quite interesting, because I was wondering like, have I lost that progress now?
Are you going to spend some of your energy?
I don't think I can yet because the cost is more than I've got.
Cost is high. Yeah. Okay.
But could I go back to? No, I can't go back to it. Can I? No. So I can replay. So I can go back to an easier level.
Yes. Yeah. Kind of Chris mentions that in the chat just as you were playing around with it, that idea that you can do the easier levels just to build up that bank of energy. He used the G word, but I'm going to be a bit more generous and say and not use it.
G word?
Grind.
Oh. Right. I'm gonna. Kind of okay with this idea of like leaving some as like slow it down a bit.
Kind of looking in the clouds, seeing kind of weird shapes. Interesting. Does it feel quite
trippy?
Yeah, like
yeah, no, it's got a real. I like the vibe.
Highly unsettling atmosphere type thing going on.
Yeah. Right, I think what I'm going to try and do, go into this one, suck everything up around, and then quickly end the level.
Okay.
Because I need 2 lots of those things. Right. Have I got enough? Yeah, because I can see around enough to kind of...
So yeah, that's what benefit the height is in that respect.
I'm kind of like listening now to how are we going? Oh shoot! Oh no, I'm not high enough. Oh no, not there.
Oh, did he pass you on? Because he was like, I'm gonna let the dog deal with you.
That's weird. Ah, okay.
Yeah, in some ways you got off lightly there.
Yeah. This is probably risky.
Well, I've seen you play plenty of push your luck games to know that you like pushing your luck.
Right, I want to only be as high as I need to be, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right, that's probably enough.
Mm-hmm. And you might have time to like go like absorb.
Well, you get energy from.
Okay. Oh, you do. Okay,
yeah,
cool.
Yeah.
So, but you could have maybe filled the bar.
I could have. Yeah, I could have. But you know,
you didn't want to push your luck. It doesn't sound like the Sean I know.
Yeah. Right. So now experience. So I get to transmit speed, absorb speed, soul capacity. Wow. Okay. I kind of. Interesting. So.
Wow. Yeah. I wonder which one.
Yeah. I'm gonna say absorb.
Yeah, I think I could see.
And transmit. Oh no, I can't. 1, 2. Have I not got enough? Oh, I would kill myself. Right. Okay. So I can't.
Yeah,
I can't do that.
You do that.
Yeah. I'm gonna go forward then to another one. It's neat.
I like it. Is it? Yeah. I'm intrigued to see like how different each island gets, and also like, I mean, you probably have the better sense of this, the two of us. But what like how different each island feels to play? Like what's
like surprisingly so, I would say. Yeah. Like so far, like I think with these kind of like games with these type of mechanics, like you can, they're deceptively simple, right? can't take too long. Oh, it might be.
You're being beamed.
Right, so in this situation, I probably want to try and skip ahead. And I'm actually gonna...
Can you go the...
Go the other way, try...
Yeah, like go through him, as it were.
Yeah, maybe. Oh no, he's turning direction. Oh no, is he not? No. Music's really good.
Nice. Let me listen again. I like the addition of crows because it suggests not only like it does it fit the gloomy idea, but you know, like maybe they're pissed off. You keep like sucking up all their trees.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I think that there's something going on there, right? I feel like
it feels like there might have to be because you're basically deforesting an island.
Yeah.
Presume like kind of for your own gain, rather than. Okay, so Chris says the music is by Dark Fantasy Studios. So shout out to Dark Fantasy Studios. Their stuff is available in various places, and they are on YouTube.
Cool.
So you can check out more of their stuff. It's such an integral part to the game experience, isn't it? The music and sound.
Right, okay, I'm gonna go now. Cleared, and I should have enough to unlock something.
Boom! Sean's getting it.
Mm-hmm.
So just like a Pillbug game in many respects, like it feels like you're starting to not just to get to grips with the mechanics of the game, but the drip-fed story of like what's actually going on and who you actually are and why you're here, generating skull statues on other people's islands, or are they your island?
I don't know. No, I can't spend that. Right, where should we go? There's another memory thingy what's it here, so I shall check that out.
Oh, okay. So yeah, it does. The map does tell you when there's a bit of
So I've got an upgrade, so both my absorb and transmit are going to be a bit quicker now.
Nice.
Try this, like going. Oh, this is an interesting one.
It's definitely one of my favorite things
shadows
about.
Hid me, but not the soldier ahead. My blade was wet as I watched him fall. Well, last time we condemned, but actually, like, you know, I gave no thought except one less to bring sorrow to my kin.
All right, so now you're like full on board with this. I'm killing whatever we're killing.
Well, I feel like when whoa, like,
like you turned around pretty quickly on that. Was like, no, we're just gonna condone violence. It's fine. I'm protecting someone. You know, which is especially bold when you don't know the full story.
No, I mean yes. Sure. Hey, I you know, I guess like I'm not doing it. I'm just like judging this person.
Just
so like
judging it.
that's all really. Like I'm not. You know, this is don't. I didn't do anything. I'm just having a conversation with someone. That's all.
Well, the fact it's a memory stone suggests that it's something you remember.
It's my memory. But you're suggesting it's my memory, which might not be the case.
True.
So now I've got full energy.
Nice.
It's actually got a nice flow. Like the way, the kind of length of these islands, like especially now I'm getting it. Like it feels like transmit or transmit. Right, I'm going to spend this one.
I would definitely increase the soul size if I were you, but you already.
Yeah, no, like.
Because you're getting to the point, like in some of these islands, where you're like, I can just chill here and make sure I'm full, kind of thing.
Yeah, that's true. I guess it feels so. It's an interesting one. Like, does that feel like a good upgrade? Like to me, like, is it like we often find this with our games? Is like people say, "Oh, this is the one upgrade you should have," and like they'll say, you know, your game is broken because I mean they don't say it like that, but you know, like it's like there's. The problem is that why would you ever not want this thing?
Yeah.
And then someone else is like, oh, you guys, why would you never not want this other thing? Like, you know, and that means you did your job right. Like if you that means that's what you want. You want people like from all sides saying that, you know.
I think like there needs to be different viable builds or paths or whatever you want to describe it as, and each one feeling relatively meaningful. But what I also like about those kinds of games, and you get this in card games like to the nth degree, is that there are some people who just want to play the thing that no one else is doing.
Yeah.
Right, and enjoy that kind of, I'm doing something that's not the most obvious, but if I like work at it or do it in a particular way, like it can be really effective. It's just not what everybody thinks of as the most important, you know, straightforward or powerful or whatever.
Yeah, it's
like,
not
approach.
The meta. Like that's how I used to like playing StarCraft 2 when I played it, was I'd look at what the meta was and I was like, screw you then, I'm gonna like, what's the opposite of this? And they won't expect it. And like when I played Dota with friends, we used to just be like, we used to just be like, right, you know, we'd have a group of 5 of us, and we'd can I?
Quickly, while you're in here, you can de-upgrade apparently. So I don't know, like how fully. Cool. I don't know if it's fully flexible. I don't know if it's the upgrade you just made, or like you can change your build completely, kind of thing.
Yeah, you can change it completely.
Oh, nice.
That's cool. Yeah, we used to have a, you know, like, so the whole thing with Dota is you have like a team and you make sure to spec out your team and have the right, you know, you got to carry like jungler or whatever. Like I can't remember, like, you know, Dota, man. And we'd be like, let's just have all the people with cool swords, and we're just going to be swords, and like we're just going to pick characters with swords, and like we'd go up against people and like they'd be like, what the hell are you guys doing? Like you've just got all carries, how is this going to work? And then like you just throw people off. Like, I mean, we never won, but it just was fun that way. I was all happy like, because it meant that these people didn't know how to deal with you because they're used to very specific build, you know, because people are used to fighting against those builds. It turns almost into like chess, doesn't it? Like where chess is like, oh, you're doing Queen's Gambit, like this is what I need to do to counter that, you know, like and chess, it's much easier to. Oh, this is an interesting one. How did Chris? Did you just? I'd be interested to know if these were all hand designed, or if there was any kind of procedural generation element to this.
On the islands.
The levels, yeah, like.
Yes, he did point out that in the credits, it showcases random islands. So I wonder if at a later point that's like a random. They're all procedural, yeah.
Cool.
Says.
Are they procedural for different people, or like, is everyone getting these same islands?
I'll give him a chance to answer.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
I wonder because I haven't seen any suggestion that like they're seeded or anything like that.
I'm kind of like getting into procedural generation. I just submitted a paper on it.
Okay.
Like in my research.
Chris says each campaign is seeded from a random number.
Okay. Huh. Like that's really okay. Well, obviously the generator is really good because I was like thinking, I see that how this has been designed, and like I was like, oh, that's an interesting progression. So,
do you think that means you could get some very difficult early on missions, or I wonder if the earlier on, like especially the first island, that would be one where it would make sense to have a specific design so that they don't accidentally get a more challenging island.
I wonder how you determine like whether or not
an island is difficult.
An island is solvable.
Oh yeah, that too.
Like, is there can you get to a point where an island isn't actually possible? And then testing a procedural system is like
it's always a challenge.
As much as I'm really into procedural generation, like I've never had the guts to actually put it in a game. Like that, like they're very, very hard to test, aren't they? But
so Chris said it took a while to balance the island generation.
Yeah.
And adjust to avoid people getting stuck. So
yeah,
that's understandable. And it does like ramp up difficulty as you get further north in the campaign.
Am I being yes? Okay. Poop.
So do you think this is getting harder, or you're just talking, or have you took your eye off the ball, or?
I don't know. I feel like it is getting harder. I feel like there's like maybe less trees, or like I'm gonna go south a bit.
Do you think you ventured too far north too quickly?
Maybe.
I wonder if your increasing absorption speed will also make it feel like there are fewer trees because
I can just like
you're getting them quicker.
Yeah.
And it's also worth pointing out, you don't seem to. Are you on purposely leaving them to slow the Watcher?
Yes, in this case, yes, I was. Whether or not that's a good strategy, I don't know. But see, this one is like the trees are really sparse where I am here, so I'm struggling to move around. But I suppose, interestingly, like if I leave them, then he can make loads of those, or she can make loads of those these things. Like because it's getting more energy, presumably.
Yeah, as Chris has pointed out, like I think that it makes sense that there's like a degree of mathematical. Let me rephrase that: a mathematical approach to deciding whether or not an island is solvable, not just about necessarily the planes of what is available on the island. Like because with like an infinite number of trees, you could solve the island.
Yeah.
Whatever. Like so, there's a tipping point presumably.
And like you need some spot to be able to get high enough to actually suck this thing out, right? I can't. Oh no, I can. Yeah.
And like he says, understandably, you'd want a check perhaps to see that you can find at least one tree probably
when
from
you
your
start.
side.
Yeah.
Interesting. There's like a day-night cycle, right? Like, did that felt like it made it a bit more difficult to quickly.
So the weather, is there a day-night cycle, or is it just like changing based on the island?
Oh, the island, like, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah. So now I've got. So here's interesting. Like I've got all this. Do I start? Oh, 3. Hang on. Can I? No. Do I actually start with? Keep an eye on the energy when I start one. I'm gonna try this lower one down here. But it's the look, it changes based on where I am.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, that would be quite a way of increasing the difficulty. I mean, we found that like in making it home, having a day-night cycle does make things more difficult. So
yeah. So I'm actually carrying over the energy from that last one.
Oh yeah.
So because I didn't spend it, that's interesting.
Yeah, that's a good choice, isn't it?
I put that there to keep it. I don't know why, but like we play so many games on here that I'm like, I looked at the Steam page. I kind of like I've got a decent idea, and then I play it, and I'm like, this one is what I expected it to be.
Yeah.
But then that's what I like. Like again, like we started the stream kind of saying there's so many games out there, and like that's what's cool about games at the moment is that it's you can find these things.
Yeah, variety, spice of life. I mean, I think it's like back in the day, I guess it was very easy to get siloed in terms of what games you liked and what games were readily available, how expensive games were, right? Remember when like getting a new game felt like
that was like one a year. This is the one game I have this year, right? It's like
exactly. So like, and it's interesting now. Like I think we were having this discussion with. It might have been like a different stream or whatever. Anyway, or watching someone streaming, and like they were talking about how people have just different approaches to like your library of games in Steam. Like I know we both have it where we have tons of games in our library that we haven't got around to playing. And I think that's quite common on Steam. You just like you pick up. They've become, I think, more like books in the sense of like a lot of people own way more books than they could read in their lifetime. Like there's just like having a book, not because like it's just about the acquisition of material things, but actually because you don't know what you'll want to read or play in 6 months time, so you pick up a game, either it's on sale or it's it's kind of in your eye line at that point, and you're like, well, maybe I'll like this.
It was because it was in our it was in our channel because like people were just, because we did a giveaway for beta keys, didn't we? And like people were saying like, oh, people just collect Steam keys.
Right, so we're talking about like why people have like a lot more keys than they could ever need or use, and it's or games available to them in their library, and I just don't think that's a bad thing. Like I think it's like people might see it as like lost money. Fine, like you've paid money for those games that you may not get around to playing.
Have you seen those websites that says like how much money you've wasted on Steam, where it like how much you spent on games you've never opened? Like that. But I mean, so like, but again, it's like that idea of is it a waste of money? Like, I mean, I always find like for me with indies, like I always have that slight feeling of, well, even if I don't get around to playing this and then talking about it, which of course would be the biggest support you give an indie, buying it is like hands down super important, right? Like for keeping people making games, keeping the game. There's so many. It's not just like you said about it's like books, and it's almost like the making of indie games is like independent books now, isn't it? In a lot of ways, like that's that. It's all that stuff, right? It's But yeah, I do the same. Like, so I bought Startopia. Like we were talking about Startopia, right? We last stream I mentioned Startopia. We both bought it. There's a new Startopia coming out. Like, so like,
but we did buy it for like 97 pence or something.
We should see if we can play that multiplayer, because I think that would be interesting. Because you can play it co-op. I used to play that with Joe a lot, and I think that would be interesting to do. Like, I bought the Command & Conquer Remastered the other day because like it just is my childhood in a game, right? So like I'm gonna do one more here, and it's like the night ones are tricky.
It does seem like quite a serious difficulty jump, and Chris says it wasn't it wasn't necessarily intended. It's more for variety.
Yeah.
But I think that's like maybe one of those happy accidents, right? Like that.
Yeah. Well, that was with Making a Home. It was the same, right? We didn't put a day-night cycle in for difficulty, but then it ended up like people saying, "Oh God, I can't see anything," and so we ended, but in a really good way, because then we ended up adding, like, then we were like, okay, we can actually add some power-ups to do with that.
Yes.
Oh man, this.
Yeah, as Chris pointed out, he did some variations like with fog and stuff, and that ended up having a negative effect on gameplay. So those kinds of things obviously can be definitely pushed too far. And the thing that's going to be difficult for us with Making It Home is that like the player has way more control over day-night, maybe than most of our players realize for a start.
Yeah.
But also, like, we can't, at the moment anyway, with the way the games work, we can't guarantee that any given level won't be, pitch black in terms of darkness. The player's always got a bit of light around them, but if we've got more and more increasing like objectives that involve the environment, and if that environment happens to be in the middle of the night, it is an additional challenge.
Yeah.
Interesting that you can't kill yourself on this game, right? Like you can't transmit too much. Would that make sense?
Yeah. That would be really frustrating, right?
Like, it would be a terrible thing for the experience, but I can't see that would be any benefit.
I think I might try and sneak out here. No, I haven't got much energy. But I'm finding this map particularly tricky because but that's a nice little it's a nice. What's really nice about this is the way that it links the meta. So you've got this kind of the fact that your resource in the game is also the resource that you do with the upgrades.
Yes,
is really interesting, and it's not in a way that makes the game. So there's a risk. The risk with doing this is that then you end up having less fun in the actual game because you're saving for this upgrade stuff. So like when we first were some first prototypes of Making It Home, if you don't know the details of the game, it doesn't really matter, but there were upgrades you can buy, and the money that you use to buy, you would pay to buy upgrades, which is also the same money you use to build stuff in the game. So you'd end up making the game less fun for yourself because you were saving money for buying an upgrade.
Yeah.
So whereas it works in the system, because why does it work here and why didn't it work? What's there's something subtly different here, but it's the same outcome, isn't it? But it somehow this works. It's to do with it's more of a push your luck. Because it feels like it's somehow a push your luck thing rather than, I don't know what.
So I would say that one of the key differences is that there is the element of creativity in Making It Home about you're building something, and the thing that you're building can be better or worse depending on how much money you have to build the things. Right. Whereas this is, and that has a direct impact on gameplay in a more binary way than this does. Let's say you have to like right now, like your energy levels are quite low, so you go into your experience and you take off one of the absorptions, so you go down like 10% on your absorption speed or whatever, right? Like that doesn't mean you can't do something in the game, right? Like it doesn't mean you can't then absorb things. You can still do it in Annwn. Whereas like in making it home, if you had to make that sacrifice and not build one of the panels because you didn't have the money, because you didn't save up for it, then you just can't use that panel at all. You don't get to have that on your vehicle. So like I think that's kind of the thing, like if that experience stops you doing things, that's when we found, well, actually this isn't very enjoyable. Like, you know, forcing the player to choose between being able to do stuff and not being able to do stuff didn't seem great. Whereas this I like, because you're getting that choice of, you know, like, is it better to have more starting energy, or do you want to be more efficient in the run?
There's also like you can even go to the level of, say you're having a particular difficulty with one of these things, you could undo this. And suddenly I'm starting this level with a full.
Yeah, exactly.
That's super interesting. That's like
right?
really. That's a cool system. I like that.
So Chris points out something that we actually had quite a lot with Cycle 28, actually, where he said like it is this system that he's made is open to abuse. Like you can just repeat earlier levels, and like keep going back and repeating them until you max out your stats. And that was something we found with Cycle 28.
Do you want to explain the system there?
So we got a large degree of feedback, and it's probably fair to say quite a bit of it fairly negative about how we chose to do upgrades in Cycle 28.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's
People were like, this is unusual, and then obviously other people were like, it's also unusual and not great. So
it's unusual and bad.
Like they didn't, like a lot of people didn't respond that well to it, which we thought was really interesting.
Well, it's to be fair, it wasn't a lot of people. It was just there were some loud people.
Oh but like I mean, there's still quite a few. I'm not talking in thousands, obviously, but and that was because the unlocks were based on beating your previous high score. So once you realize that, and you realize that that's how the unlock system works, of course you could like you could do a terrible score, like score 10 points, and then your next run you could score 11 points, and you're like, I've got a new unlock. That was a quick run. Run.
It's a tricky one. That's why. Okay.
So like it, like immediately once you realize that, of course it was open to abuse, and you could unlock all 10 unlocks in like, you know, like probably like 15-20 minutes. Like it doesn't take very long to do it,
because you would deliberately do a bad job.
And die and reset and so on and so forth. So like it was totally open to player abuse, and a lot of people did it, and a lot of people were like, I don't like that. But we also had people say, well, actually, I didn't realize that I could do that. So I put a really good score on, and I had to push myself to get better at the game every time to kind of keep unlocking things. And at points the unlocks help, obviously they're kind of upgrades and stuff, but at other points they don't, because they're like very different ways of playing the game. So like I think it's interesting, like if you push like unlock systems into new different directions and give players opportunities and choice, that does often lend itself to systems that are open to abuse. But we didn't want to say every time you get 1,000 new points, you get a new unlock. So like you have to get 10,000 points, because that's like us picking, as gatekeepers, how good you have to be at the game. I think
the way that we could have done that better. Well, the thing that because it's so open to abuse. The problem is, it's open to an abuse in a way that makes the game less fun for the person doing it, and it's too easy to do that. So that like you could imagine a situation, you go on the forum and it's like, hey, if you're not unlocking anything, just make sure the first time you play, just do bad. And that's a really bad thing. Like that's a really we should have seen that coming. But one way that would have been slightly improved to make people less likely to do that would be to have it based on beating your average score.
That's interesting.
Because like some people, I think it's interesting because like the thing I would always say to people is, well, you only have to score one more point than you did last time.
Yeah,
and people, it's really, I think it's really fascinating.
It's a psychological thing, isn't it? Because you're like, wow, people did say in reviews and stuff, they're like, well, I happened to have a good run on my first game through.
Yeah.
I got like 3,000 points.
Yeah.
And now I can't get 3,001 points.
Mm-hmm.
Like I keep like going lower than that, and
yeah.
That's quite unusual. Like, not lots of people had that experience, right? Because, like, when in the game is your first, like, it's not a game where you really get very lucky when you have no idea what's going on.
Yeah, it's an interesting. It's interesting psychology. It's psychologically interesting how people see that, because people see. It's almost like people think they got lucky, and like, well, no, you just did well.
Yeah,
but then. You know, our job as game designers is, you know, we failed if that's the way people are thinking.
There was also another aspect to it. I hesitate to bring this up, but I think it is kind of relevant, is that we put into Cycle 28, and I know a lot of indie games do this, and we've currently done it, I think, for Making It Home. Well, I know we have, is that in Cycle 28, you can reset your profile.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right, so like, and for me that was part of the problem as well. Like, I think if people felt like, oh, I'm stuck with a 2,000 point high score and each time I've got to get better, like, that's just the way it is now, like with this game, fine. But I think other people were like, well, I can just reset my profile. Now I know how the system works. I reset my profile and I scam the system.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it doesn't feel, it's not a good, Yeah, I feel like that. I think that was probably my biggest regret if we ever did a postmortem about Cycle 28. I think we could have done better with that system.
Well, I mean, this is the beauty of games, right? Like, it's never too late. We can, at one stage, we've both talked about wanting to put an update into Cycle 28. We did put an update into intelligent design that changed quite a lot, added a new map, changed UI functions. And so on and so forth. So that would be something to look at for a Cycle 28.
Yeah, potentially. I'd have to have a think. Potentially. Sure.
Long tangent on like game systems, but that's what we do on this particular stream.
That's the whole idea behind this. So there's two cool games. Like I think, both on Steam, both available to check out.
The stream to start with, we played Fly Punch Boom, which released I think last week. And the one we've just been playing is Annwn, released March 2019.
Yes. So pick them up if they're your cup of tea. Don't forget to review them if you like them, or review that that I shouldn't have said if you like them. Review games. Like, you should always review games on Steam. It really helps.
Yes.
Like, honest reviews are like extremely good things. Like, do it. Like, I'll be doing it. That's that really. Cool.
Thanks for swinging by, Chris.
Thanks, Chris.
One of the devs from what's it? Quantum Soup. Soup.
Mm-hmm. So we're really bad at the sign-off stuff. But so what's going on now with us? So there was going to be a Steam festival this week, but there's not now. It's going back a week, so we're going to be moving that. So we'll be back on Tuesday at 8. If you want to, follow us on Twitch, like, subscribe, and you'll find out when stuff is happening. We're working on our next game, Making It Home. There's a beta. You can get into that if you go to pillbug.zone. You can join our mailing list, and you will get a key, and you can get in on the beta. Did I miss anything?
No, that's great. Just keep your eyes peeled on all the usual channels for other Making It Home videos. I know a bunch of streamers are streaming the game, including a Welsh Games Network streamer is streaming Making It Home tonight at 7 o'clock UK time. So if you're interested in checking that out as well, check out our Twitter page and other places for it.
And on our Discord, lots of people are sharing. There's been some great videos from like some smaller streamers who've like done really good. I'm surprised some of them don't have more subscribers. Like some really, really good streamers, I think.
Yes. Yeah. And we're really grateful for them for checking out Making It Home. So thanks very much, Sean, for sharing a couple of indie games with us on Love Indies Week.
Cool. Thanks, Dave. Thanks, everybody.
Bye.